Good evening, loyal Palm Beach Post viewers. This is Christine Stapleton, and I'm here live at Palm Beach International Airport for the landing of Air Force One. This is the beginning of Trump Season 4 in Palm Beach, and I'm here with the rest of Team Tarmac. We have a new member this year, Antonio Fins. I'm going to introduce you to Antonio. Say hi.
Hello, good to be here. So there's pretty much a lot going on right now. We got Marine One is here. You know, usually when the president comes in, he goes straight to Mar-a-Lago or greet some of the well-wishers before going to his private club, but not tonight. He's going to Sunrise for a big rally. About 16 to 20,000 people will be there outside. A bunch of Democrats will be out protesting. So quite a lot going on tonight, Christine.
All right. We've got Joe Forzano, our ace videographer. Part of Team Tarmac is returning. And Rich Graulich is our photographer from the Palm Beach Post. Now, you may notice that we are missing our former captain, George Bennett, ace political reporter for the Palm Beach Post. George has taken a job elsewhere, and he's no longer with us. We miss him very much. And so this year, Team Tarmac is going to be Antonio Fins, myself, and Joe Forzano. We're waiting here for Air Force One. And like Antonio said, it's a really unusual arrival because we do have Marine One, which are the helicopters that take the president. And there's actually two of them, always two of these helicopters at least, sometimes even more. One is, or two are always decoys, so no one really knows which one the president is in. Then we had a special treat. We also had the Ospreys come by tonight. Those are some really unique planes, which we've not seen before. And so we'll be wondering tonight who's going to be on Air Force One. Antonio, what are your thoughts about who's going to be traveling with the president?
Well, you got to figure, obviously, Melania and some of the first family members, probably some of the staff, Stephanie Grisham, you figure will be coming down. The quick questions will be Mick Mulvaney and some of the staff members that have been a little bit under a cloud given the impeachment. There's also a lot of new faces. There's been quite a bit of turnover since last he was here back in Easter.
All right, I'm going to interrupt you now. We've got a landing of Air Force One. It is coming down the tarmac. The big question, as always every year, is when it gets down to the end of the runway, will we see a turn to the left or to the right? Now, I'm going to go with left. Antonio, what are your thoughts?
No, I think he's in a hurry to get to Sunrise. It's going to make a right and head straight toward us.
Well, could be. What do we got there? Let's see. We're waiting. It's a beautiful night here in Palm Beach. About 70 degrees, no clouds, very little wind. And let's see. Going to the left, so I win it tonight. All right. Now we'll be waiting for Air Force One to pull up and see who's on the plane tonight. Now this is the president's 26th visit to Palm Beach since he was elected. And they estimate each visit costs about $3.5 million, which would put the total at about $87 million for the trip so far, but that does not include the additional cost to Palm Beach County taxpayers for security by the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, Town of Palm Beach, and City of West Palm Beach. So what are you looking forward to this visit, Antonio?
Well, the first thing is, I think with this visit, in terms of number of days, he will finally top John F. Kennedy. Back when Kennedy was president 61 to 63, he made 16 trips here, but spent more time per trip than Trump has in his 25 previous trips. So I think with this trip, you'll finally eclipse the number of days. The interesting thing will be, we got a lot of coverage coming this week. We're going to have a good story about the JFK bunker on Peanut Island, which is still closed to the public, so we're going to give you an update on what's going on with that. We'll also have a story looking at Mar-a-Lago security. Just this past Monday, the Chinese woman who was convicted was first charged with making false claims to enter Mar-a-Lago back in March. She was convicted a few months ago. She was sentenced on Monday, so brought more attention to the whole question of security. So we'll have a story about that. And then, of course, we'll be in the pool all week long. Christine, you'll be there on Thursday and Friday. And, usually Thursday he'll go see the Coast Guard unit down at the Riviera Beach location. And then from there, sometimes he invites the press in to listen to him call the military and maybe take some questions. So throughout the week, come follow us on PalmBeachPost.com because there's a lot going on, and we'll be covering it all.
Yes, we will. We don't have an exact date or time when the president's leaving, but we're assuming he'll be here until Sunday. And we don't know the exact plans that the family has for Thanksgiving dinner. Last year, they obviously ate at Mar-a-Lago in the grand ballroom. Our photographers were allowed in to take some pictures of the family, and they were seated in the middle of the ballroom, cordoned off with some red ropes, and eating among other Mar-a-Lago members, hundreds of other Mar-a-Lago members in the main ballroom. We've got Air Force One coming towards us now, be making a turn right towards the folks here. He has a lot of folks waiting to see him, supporters. I'd say maybe about 100 supporters who have lined up. We don't know if he's going to stop and say hello tonight. He's in a real hurry to get down to sunrise. The rally is supposed to start at 7 p.m. Looks like he's going to barely make that if he does.
We should mention that this is President Trump's first visit to Palm Beach since he became a Florida resident a couple of months ago. And he actually is now registered to vote here as well. So we expect that a year from now, he will be here again to vote on Election Day if he doesn't choose to go absentee or vote before somehow. But it is his first visit as a Florida resident. Florida can finally claim one president as its own.
That's right. Palm Beach is going to see a lot of the president over the years. And we can see quite a few people moving around on Air Force One now. We have a lot of service members here, in addition to his supporters. They'll be bringing the red carpeted staircase up to the plane soon. They've just started moving in. They always have two staircases in case one fails. So they're getting ready to bring one of them over right now. Now this is really an unusual visit because of what's been going on in Washington with the impeachment. So we don't know if maybe the president might have some of his staff members visiting along with him, or maybe they'll come in later this weekend. We do know earlier today, Melania, for the first time, was booed at an event. She was at an opioid summit in Baltimore, where the audience booed her. The President and First Lady today also pardoned the presidential turkey. I believe their names were Bread and Butter, and I believe he pardoned Butter. So Bread is not going to have a very good Thanksgiving. Now, the President boarded the aircraft in Washington with Melania and their son Barron, but in the past we've also seen other family members on the aircraft We also may have what we call Trump Force One coming in with family members perhaps tomorrow if they're not on the plane now. But traditionally the Trump family, all the Trump family gathers for Thanksgiving at Mar-a-Lago, and they've been doing that for many years. The motorcade's now going by, getting in position. The president will be flying down to the rally, but there may be other people on the plane who are going to just head right to Mar-a-Lago and not go to the rally. They're now getting the staircase in place for the president to depart. The press pool is lined up. The National Press Corps will be also flying to the rally. The Palm Beach Post reporters are also in the press pool and will be with the president the entire weekend. We are not flying down to the rally, but we do have reporters inside and outside of the BB&T Center where the rally will be tonight. And like Antonio said, there will be supporters and protesters at the rally. We know the baby Trump balloon will be there. It looks like the staircase is in place. Antonio, do you recognize anyone coming off the rear of the plane?
Mostly a lot of media people. Looks like some staff members, but didn't see anybody that, like the chief of staff or anybody that we would recognize for the most part. But it looked like a lot of media people, at least a dozen to 2 dozen reporters, TV types, a lot of cameras, big lenses, so forth.
Okay, now the rest of the motorcade is pulling up here, and this could be some of the family members and friends that'll get off Air Force One and just go to Mar-a-Lago. We know the President and First Lady, I believe the First Lady will be traveling with the President down to the rally. We've got 5 black SUVs in position. Marine One, the helicopters are nearby. The president will be walking right from Air Force One over to the helicopters. And we are imagining that on the way back after the rally, the president will take the helicopter directly to Mar-a-Lago. The town of Palm Beach did allow the president to install a helipad on the back lawn at Mar-a-Lago with the condition that he remove it as soon as he is out of office. The helipad is only to be used for presidential business, not for any personal flights by Mar-a-Lago members. And it is the only helipad behind a residence in the town. The town does not want helipads at residences. Many people over there would take advantage of that probably and be able to fly their helicopters in and out. So this is the only one.
You can still see a few people there, so there might be
Yeah, there's some people we can see inside the windows here at Air Force One. We can see some of the folks moving around inside the plane. We think it's probably about what? How far would or how long will it take the president to get down to the rally?
no more than 20 minutes by helicopter. I mean, by car, it's about 45 minutes to an hour. On one of these, probably 15, 20 minutes. But whatever time he gets there, I'm sure the people in the rally would be happy to see him, and outside, those protesting probably not as happy.
And they started early today, didn't they, outside the BB&T Center? Can you tell us a little bit about what was going on down there today?
Yeah, basically, we had many of the Trump's, the president's supporters were out there early on, sometimes as early as this morning and late last night. to be the first to be in line to get in and get the choicest seats. And then about 3 p.m., the doors opened. And in fact, if you go to our website, palmbeachpost.com, you'll see our story with our reporter Hannah Morris was down there all afternoon talking to both those who support the president and those who came to oppose him. And then at about 3:30 or so, that's where the counter-protest rally began. One of the key speakers was going to be U.S. Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who not only has figured somewhat prominently in the impeachment inquiry as a member of the House Oversight Committee, but is also now vying to be the chair of the House Appropriations Committee. So it was quite an eventful day there. And like I said, we had a reporter, Hannah Morris, was there, and you can read all about it on palmbeachpost.com.
Great, Antonio. All right, we're still waiting here. And we don't know who's going to be getting off. We can still see some people moving around inside Air Force One. We do have Wilbur Ross, who's on the plane, who just got off. Cabinet member and a resident of Palm Beach.
The Wilbur Ross sighting is actually pretty interesting, given he has been one of the longest-serving members of President Trump's cabinet, one of the few original members still on there, and he has had his ups and downs with the president. His tenure as the Commerce Secretary, sometimes in hot water over the tariff negotiations with China, sometimes in hot water over some ethics concerns that have been raised by some of the government watchdogs. But sure enough, here he is traveling on Air Force One back to Palm Beach with President Trump. So you imagine that at least the China and trade issues may have been discussed while on the way here. So keeping an eye out on who else might be coming off the plane. There are still a few others we can see through the windows. But mostly what we've seen come off the plane through the back have been most of the traveling press corps. That is usually a round robin of different members of the media from the different Washington bureaus that are chosen to travel with the president. Usually Washington Post and New York Times are among the ones that always are there.
And we can see the president in Air Force One in his red tie. Looked like he was just heading towards the door. Now he's gone back and he's speaking to someone else. The rest of the plane appears to be empty. It looks like he may be speaking with Melania. And I don't see Barron. I don't know if he went off the back of the plane. He normally goes down with his parents on the red carpet. And we do have a lot of Trump supporters who are waiting here. I'd say there might be maybe 100. The president often stops by and signs autographs, signs hats, talks to the supporters. We wouldn't expect him to tonight, though. He needs to get down to that rally. So, of course, if the president wants to stop and talk, he can do that. And we're still waiting now for the president to exit the aircraft. This is taking a little bit longer than it usually does. We can see him in there. He's still talking to a woman. It appears it might be Melania that he's speaking with. We have the motorcade patiently waiting. I see 6 black SUVs now. The Secret Service agents are on the tarmac too. Now you can probably hear there's a lot of noise here, and it's interesting because the 2 helicopters, they don't have their rotors going right now, and they're making that much noise. So you can imagine when those rotors start going on both of those and they take off, it's going to be quite noisy here. And the president is now leaving Air Force One. The crowd is cheering, he's waving. He's, so far, the president is alone, waving to the crowd, heading down the stairs, the red carpeted stairs. We have, looks like, I'm not sure who is coming down now. We have some other folks coming down right now. And it looks like the president will go over and speak to his supporters. We've got Stephen Miller among the crowd. And the president is now over with his supporters. They're waving. And I have not yet seen the First Lady come down. The president now is over with the crowd, and they love this. The president loves this. Folks are handing over their hats to be signed. The president loves to do that. These folks have been waiting out here since about 3 o'clock this afternoon. So it's been over 3 hours. They've been waiting patiently. Now, some of the motorcade vehicles are heading out. Imagine there'll be some folks here who are going to be heading directly to Mar-a-Lago and not down to the rally.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting that Stephen Miller was in the among the president's advisors that were traveling with him. He has been the president's principal advisor on immigration issues, very much a hardliner, and someone that has been criticized for taking very rigid positions and making it very difficult to cut a deal and address some of the issues that need to be addressed in terms of immigration, whether it's DACA, the Dreamers, whether it's even the building of the wall. A couple of deals there's Governor Ron DeSantis is there as well with the president. He too will be headed down with the president to the rally. So it is in terms of the top ranks of Florida government, you're going to see them there tonight. But again, very interesting that it is Stephen Miller who was on the plane with him, and perhaps some discussions about immigration policy and moving forward on that issue that has been such a difficult one for this administration and the Congress to deal with. There have been 2 shutdowns as a result of the stalemate on key parts of immigration reform. One back in 2018 and another one last year, the longest ever, actually, federal government shutdown, and that had to do with funding, the president's demand for funding for a border wall. Eventually, the shutdown ended without a deal, but the president enacted an emergency declaration to free up money from the Pentagon budget, and that was a Stephen Miller idea. So,
yes, it's interesting. The governor's over here, and he's getting in on the autographing. I saw a few fans hand MAGA hats to Governor DeSantis, and he's even doing some autographs here. The interesting thing, too, about Steve Cohen, is that he recently got into some trouble or some controversy about some emails he had sent years ago to a former Breitbart writer, and he had been referencing some far-right and far-right publications and websites that had advocated some white nationalism articles, and so it's kind of interesting that he is down here. He also recently got engaged. So what I'm not seeing, though, is Melania, and I did not see her exit the plane. She may have snuck by, but I've not seen her anywhere. Have you seen her, Antonio?
no, I've not. They came out in kind of a different flurries. The president is still there, shaking hands. The governor's there. Interesting relationship between the governor and the president. Ron DeSantis, most people in Florida had not heard of him when he first jumped into the race or decided to jump into the race, and it was the president who really put him on the map and correctly predicted that DeSantis would win a landslide in the August 2018 primary, and then ultimately DeSantis went on to win a squeaker of an election against the Democrat Andrew Gillum. But clearly that is a very tight relationship between the two men. Now, as we said before, both of them Florida residents. The president and DeSantis are walking now toward Marine One. They will board and head down to the rally. DeSantis has been a very popular very popular governor in his first, concluding his first year as governor, and has been very popular. He's particularly down here spent a lot of time in Palm Beach County and just to our north talking about water issues and water quality, which has been a big deal, particularly in Martin County, in St. Lucie County, and Indian River County, with some of the estuaries and the rivers, and the discharge of some Lake Okeechobee. So the governor has really spent a lot of attention dealing with that issue, and I think that's, among environmentalists, won him some high marks.
And the president has gotten onto Marine One with Governor DeSantis. The motorcade is lined up. We don't know who's in there. Like I said, we did not spot Melania. She had a bad day today. She was booed at an event in Baltimore, an opioid summit, and the crowd booed her. And I believe that is the first time she's ever appeared at an event and been booed. The Ospreys that were here are about to take off. I believe they're transporting the National Press Corps. So the Ospreys will be tailing Marine One, the two helicopters, the one decoy and the one that the president is on. All right, the Ospreys, I don't know if you can hear, but they are ready to go. The engines are on. The rotors are spinning. These are really unusual aircraft. They're rarely seen. They have the ability to. The rotors can serve as they do on a helicopter. They can be vertical, and then they can also be changed horizontally, so they rotate. It's a really interesting aircraft, very unique.
Interestingly, Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross is still in the tarmac. He's not part of any of the motorcades right now. He doesn't seem to be headed to any of the helicopters, so he might just be going back to Palm Beach. It's like I said, the rotors are going off on the Marine One helicopters, so they'll be taking off. And they'll be in Sunrise in about 20 minutes or so. Yeah, so that would be pretty much on time. Yeah, it'll be on time at 7 o'clock for the rally. So if the thousands who are in the BB&T Center will not have to wait long for the president to arrive. Again, doors open at 3 p.m., so they've been there for more than a few hours. Some of them waited all night long, so a long wait. But the president will shortly be on his way. And the well-wishers, they were greeted him here. Got a chance to get some photographs up close. Some of them got some autographs. So if you are a member of Trump Nation, it's been a success evening, and now there is that rally. Marine One is now starting to move with the president aboard. They're taking off here. The Ospreys are about to take off as well. So the action here on Palm Beach International Airport is being wrapped up. As the president prepares to depart, the media corps that is on the Ospreys prepares to depart. The staff that is traveling with them prepares to depart. So, as Christine said earlier, season 4 of Trump in Palm Beach has begun, and it's been quite a start. You got to say it's been quite a start. I mean, you've seen quite a few of these.
Yes, I'll tell you though, tonight's a little different. We have never been on the tarmac where we've not only had Air Force One, but we've had Marine One, and we've had the 2 Ospreys. So this is even special for those of us who have been watching and have been on the tarmac for most of these landings. And the Palm Beach Post does cover every single landing. We do a Facebook Live, so you can be here with us and see what's going on. We'll be with the president all weekend. I am working on Thanksgiving Day, and I'll be with the president. We'll be going over to Mar-a-Lago, likely watch him make a phone call to the troops, go with him to the Coast Guard station where he will deliver sandwiches and bags of potato chips to the troops on Thanksgiving Day. Hopefully they'll also get some turkey somewhere along the way. Wilbur Ross is still on the tarmac. I don't know, maybe he's waiting for an Uber or something. It's kind of odd.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. I guess he's going to get a different ride back to Palm Beach, where he is a resident. You know, the interesting thing is, obviously the nation is very divided, and our community is very divided on the politics. But at the end of the day, this is historical. This is very unique. It is not often that you have a president in your neighborhood, in your backyard, and a resident of your state. So we are watching history unfold, and all these. There's always, with these visits, some kind of historical moment. We had the Mueller report unfold here when he was here in March, and then the actual report released just as he was arriving in April. Before that, we've had times when there have been North Korean missiles fired when he was in Mar-a-Lago. We also had times when he was in Mar-a-Lago holding meetings before he fired missiles on Syria. So it is, regardless of your point of view, this is history here, and we are covering it. So keep an eye on PalmBeachPost.com throughout the week, because something's always going to happen. And there go the Marine One helicopters. And like I said, the Thanksgiving visit of the president in Palm Beach has begun, and with quite a show of military hardware here in terms of Ospreys, Marine One helicopters, and of course Air Force One, which, by the way, will be here through Sunday. So if you want to come get a selfie, it's right off Southern Boulevard on the south end of the airport, where the Atlantic Aviation headquarters are located. So with that, I'll sign off, hand it back to Christine.
All right, like we said, stick with us this weekend, and we will be providing you with the most up-to-date coverage of the president here in Palm Beach. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Thanks for joining us.